What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Nothing But Skills, and today we're bringing you guys another Division 2 build video. Now, the video that you just saw, the little clip I showed you, was me using this current build. And don't worry, for all of you people who are going to be asking, hey, can we see a little bit more footage? I'll have footage of this exact build in action throughout this video. So I know a lot of you guys are asking, well, what build is he running with the AK? So this is the current build right here, 711, and then we have 290k armor, 110k health. Now, I am running a black market, but before we talk about the weapons and gear, let's just get into my skills. So I'm running a chem launcher. If you look at the top right hand corner, skill power is 1409. That's because I do have an auxiliary battery pack, and I am running a 20% heal mod that's going to push me to around 61,000 heal. I'm also running a revive hive with 2 auxiliary battery packs, and then I also run 11% cooldown reduction on this hive itself. So those auxiliary battery packs are what you're going to want to look for when you're running builds that don't have a lot of skill power like this one. So let's get into the weapons. I am running one of my favorite AK-47s. This is the military AKM, and this right here, this bad boy is at 27,000. Now, the talents I love running for PVE, I always love running preservation, especially when I run around 7 offensive. Now, preservation, killing an enemy repairs 10% armor over 5 seconds. Headshots do improve that repair. You do need to have 7 defensive or more. I have a Legger on here, that 10% rate of fire, and then I have overlap. While holster, you gain that 5% weapon handling. So that's good when I'm using my Nemesis. Now, the way I have this modded, I'm running the C79 scope with that 5% damage to elites, and that's going to work with the holster talent on the Nemesis. I'm also running a sturdy extended mag, plus 20 rounds, negative 10 reload speed. I'm also running an angle grip with 10% stability right here. And then the muzzle, we're also going to add an additional 5% damage to elites. So on this AK alone, I have 10% damage to elites. Now for my secondary, I'm running a Nemesis, and I always like pairing these up in PvE because of the Nemesis holster talent. While holstered, gain 25% headshot damage when scoped in with your current weapon. So since I am using that scoped on the military AK, I'm getting 25% extra headshot damage. So when we look at my stats, you'll really notice where I get a little bit more damage on this build. It's coming from having Nemesis holstered. Now, for my pistol, I always like running the specialization pistol for whatever specialization I'm running. And then I really like the gunner specialization pistol because you get 2 holster talents technically. So greased while holster, weapon swap speed is increased by 10%. So when I'm swapping between the Nemesis and the AK, and then protective reload while equipped, so it just has to be on this build, this weapon gains 10% bonus armor after reloading. So every time I'm reloading my AK, I get that 10% bonus armor out of my 290k armor. Now if we get into my masks, let's get into the build itself. I'm running a Murakami mask, 8% health. I'm going to get 8,000 health, and then 42% damage to elites, and then hard hitting of 10%. So that's 52% damage to elites just on the mask itself. And then, of course, we get into the chest now. The chest is going to have the Fenris chest, 10% assault rifle damage, 10% protection from elites because I'm running 2-piece Fenris. I have an armor roll of 20k, a health roll of 19k, a weapon damage of 12%, and then my favorite talent, Bloodsucker, depleting your enemy's armor adds stack of 25 bonus armor for 10 seconds. You can stack this up to 6 times. Bloodsucker, one of my favorite PvE talents, and then this also has hard hitting. That's why I like running the Fenris chest, because you can have 2 talents on there. You can have Bloodsucker, and then you can also have damage to elites. And that's what you should be looking for on this build. For the mods, I do have a defensive system mending mod on here. 2k armor, 5% total armor, and then 4% explosive resistance. So this is one of the only system mending mods I have on here, but that 5% total armor is going to help me out. For the holster, I am running a Gilligard holster. I'm running 2-piece Gilligard, so I get 5% total armor, 20% hazard protection. I have 11k armor on kill on here, and then 40k health. Now, the great thing about Gilligard, you get those 2 offensive mod slots, so I'm stacking some more damage on here with that 3% assault rifle damage, 2% weapon damage. I also have another one with 3% assault rifle damage, 2% weapon damage, and 1% damage to armor. So this is a great place for you guys to stack a little bit more damage on your build. Now, for the knee pads, I did go with the 2nd-piece Fenris. This gives me that 10% protection from elites. But look, I have a 12% total armor roll on here. And another reason why I do like the Fenris, knee pads, the only knee pads in the game that will give you 2 rolls. So we have patience after being in cover for 5 seconds, armor repairs by 5% every 1 second, and then we also have hard hitting on here, so that damage to elites. If we dive into the gloves, I am running the second piece of Gilligard, and then I have 337 armor regeneration. I have 8% assault rifle damage. Now you can max this out at 12%, so I could gain an additional 4% damage on this build itself. We have hard hitting, 10% damage to elites, and then we also have a utility mod slot on here that's going to give me 141 skill power plus that 256 chem launcher skill power, and that's why I'm able to stack a little bit more of a heal on a build that has no skill power, right? So let's get into the backpack. The backpack, one of my favorite backpacks for PvE, Badger Tough backpacks. They give you that 7% damage to elites. You get 7k health on this one. You get 6.5% total armor. I have a 9% weapon damage roll on here, and then I get an additional 11k armor. Now what's cool about this is it's kind of like having hard hitting and harden on here, because I get that total armor on there. You see that? It's not full, just as good as harden, and then it has damage to elites of 7%. Not as good as hard hitting, but it still works. These backpacks, these Badger Tough pieces, I really like stacking. And sometimes, if you guys have ever watched any of my other PvE builds, you might see that sometimes I run 2-piece Badger Tough for that 15% armor on kill, and that works great too. But on this build itself, I want to stack a little bit more damage to elites and just be a little bit more offensive, then have that survivability with having an additional 15% armor on kill. Because this build already, just running gunner, I have 10% armor on kill plus that 11k armor on kill that I had on the holster. But if you ever want to switch out the mask, you can, and you could put a Badger Tough mask and get that 15% damage to elites. That's usually where I put it. I either put Badger Tough on the backpack or on the mask. So that's up to you. But I wanted to have a little bit more damage, and that's how I'm running this build. But let's go into the stats. I am running 27,000 total weapon damage. The headshot damage is only reflecting what's on the AR itself, which is 55%, but I get additional 25% from the Nemesis holster talent, so I'm at 80% headshot damage. My stability is at 10%. I do have that negative 10% reload speed, but look, my all weapon damage 26%, 44% AR damage. We get some 15% marksman rifle damage because of I'm spec'd into it in my gunner specialization, but look at that, 1% armor damage, 99% damage to elites, and then I get 29% health damage because ARs have that health damage. But look at that, 99% damage to elites. That's why I tell you, you can have easily over 100% damage to elites on this build. I have some low rolls on my damage to elites on the mask, but if I got a better one, it'd be good. But take a look at that right there too. Look, I have 337 armor regeneration, but I have 10% armor on kill. But on the build itself, you guys didn't see that. So the armor on kill does not reflect on my build because I'm running a gunner specialization, so that's where I'm getting that. But it also doesn't reflect the extra 10,000 that I'm getting that's on my holster. Now I do have that 20% hazard protection, which is great. Remember, it's that bleed, burn, disrupt, disorient, and shock resistance all in one. And then we have our skill power, and I've already explained to you how I'm able to get high skill power because I do have those auxiliary battery packs on this build. But yeah, overall, this is my build. This is my second go-to build. I do run the armor on kill build if I'm running solo. If I'm with the team, I'll take off the armor on kill, and then I'll run something like this that has a little bit more DPS versus the survivability that my armor on kill build when running 2-piece Badger Tough. This build hits. It hits hard, and because the AK already has a high damage, once I start stacking that weapon damage and that AR damage on this build, it just puts out a lot of damage overall. That's great because a lot of people are worried because they don't have the custom P416 that they see in my other builds. You don't need it. You can get a great AK like this. It's going to hit harder. It's going to show a harder number. It just doesn't have that high rate of fire. And if we take it to the range, it's hitting about 1.2 million on a named target. So this build still has that pure raw DPS power that you're looking for in a PvE build. And the thing I want you guys to keep in mind when you guys are making your builds is if you can find other pieces that have blues and reds that match up to this, you can still use those pieces. They don't have to be a Gilligard piece or don't have to be a Murakami piece. But remember, sometimes those pieces, one piece gives you like 8% health, the other one gives you some protection from elites, one gives you that weapon type of damage you need, like the Fenris gives you 10% AR damage, and that's what you really need to pay attention to. Just keep that in mind when you guys are putting your builds together. Remember, if you have any questions on any of your builds, use the comment section down below. Leave a thumbs up if you found this video useful. And as always, if you are new to my channel and happen to stumble upon my channel and you're watching that video for the first time, hit the subscribe button, turn notification bell on so when I release a video, you guys get notified. Thank you guys again for all the support, but until the next video, nothing but skills out.